What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is Introvert Boricua. Hope everybody's okay, considering what's going on. Um, in this Sunday, you know how it is with me. I never start a live stream with a lot of energy because sometimes I don't even know how I'm gonna be starting. But I see uh, there's already a couple of people. Titi Juju, what's going on? Good to see you up here. All right. Yeah. I saw your message. You were saying that you were gonna be doing a live stream. Don't do it too late so I can join at least for a little bit, because I know that you like to do them later on in the evening. I do have to get up early tomorrow. And my guy, the 18th letter, man, we need to talk. We haven't had a chat in a while, but also definitely, if you're gonna be here not long from now, you can join the panel. Like, oh man, I almost didn't do this. I almost didn't do this because there is so much going on. There is madness. It's madness. It's not just what has been going on during last week, but what has been going on in the last 48, 72 hours. Plane crash. Another plane apparently crashed, and there was a refinery, an oil refinery that blew up. That I understand that it's in flames right now. Like, what's going on? What's going on here? Because there is the talk that there could be some type uh, of kind of like a hidden hand type of thing. Sabotage is what I was trying to say. That it could be that it could be some type of a sabotage, and because of that, I was like, I don't even know what to talk about. But hey, you guys that are on the chat, help me out. You can suggest. We can talk about whatever you want because it might help me. It might help me as an exercise, as kind of like venting and trying to get this out of my system, because it is one of those things that, hey, you keep this all uh, bottled up inside. It's gonna eat you up. It's gonna hurt you. So yeah, I guess I could start with the main subject, and we could work our way into something else because it could be related anyway. So the what prompted me to do this live stream is because I was coming up with a couple of posts. One of them on Facebook, another one that I saw on Instagram, in which in which magas are bringing up this whole thing about complaining about people protesting, the whole thing about ICE being deployed when it comes to the to the deportations and all, and the way that they think that they're having a gotcha moment against the protesters is by bringing up all statements, all addresses by former presidents that were Democratic, in which they were talking about the same issue about um, rounding up illegals, undocumented people, and having them deported, and how um, and how many people uh, these democratic presidents, how many people they actually went on and deported. Um, and the thing is that they're trying to bring up these clips, and I'm gonna play them. I'm gonna play a couple of them. Where they're bringing up these clips of Bill Clinton, in which in an address to Congress, he was talking about the issue of undocumented immigration and how there has to be strict enforcement of immigration laws and they need to be deported. And this is a Democratic president talking about it. There was also the clips of Obama, of Barack Obama, talking about the same thing. and how all the people that he deported and all of that. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's cute that they're bringing that up. Like it's this big gotcha moment. Like, what do you have to say? Your president said this and that, and look at how many they deported. Oh, that's cute. Oh, okay. We're gonna get into that. And I'm like, this is funny. This is funny. Look at what they have to go through. That look at what they have to go through. Like these are the same people. I don't wanna spoil it. I don't wanna spoil it then because the contradiction is there. It's a big contradiction. It's a big a false equivalency. It this current administration, they're sending out ICE out to crash schools. They're sending ICE after kids in school, in elementary school. Imagine if that was your kid, and big guys with guns are going after your kid because they assume that that is an illegal. They chased after them in school. Um, like imagine, which is this is something that they're also doing. They're sending ICE to crash church services because, as you know, Hispanics, a lot of our people, they go to church, and the majority of our people are very Christian, and they go to church, and mostly Catholics, as you all know, and they're sending ICE to crash the churches and to arrest people at the churches. They're also at the different job sites, and well, they might be hiring undocumented people, and different construction job sites, or in the farming and farming lands where they're when they where they're gonna be having they're gonna have people that may be undocumented, and they're gonna be working there and all. Hey Denise, what's going on, ma? ¿Qué pasó? Um, and they're gonna be doing that. They're gonna be sending ICE out. They're gonna catch them over there, and all of that. The thing is, or the thing is that they're out there doing all of this race-based profiling. They're even arresting Puerto Ricans. That has already happened a couple of times. It happened with the guy in Newark. They arrested him. They told him, "Look, I'm a veteran." And he even had his ID on. They didn't believe him. But he was brown, illegal. It's kind of like an automatic thing. They couldn't even give him a chance to do that. Yeah, I guess they were just trying to meet an arrest quota because of agents. It works like that with them. They have to take it in. They have to arrest them, so they can add it to the quota. They have to let him go. But he had to go all the way until they took him in and arrested him, instead of just, look, I have my ID. He had his military ID, and they didn't believe him. They assumed that it was a fake. So they ended up having to let him go. So it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as it was with this past administrations. That wasn't so much of a thing. They wouldn't they wouldn't chase after them on some race-based profiling. Okay. Here we go. You're not understanding. ICE was being, I don't know if they were with guns or not, but chasing after elementary school kids to arrest them. That's the thing. You don't see it. You don't see it that way. You're not understanding the point of view that I'm bringing you about that, because it's not happening to somebody that you know. It's not happening to your kid. Because a lot of this, yes, there might be many of these kids that were that may may have been going to school undocumented. But what is it that you wanted to happen? You wanted ICE to crash these elementary schools, and terrorize the kids, arresting them. Is that what you wanted? Really? That's my point. That's what I'm trying to get at. If not, I know. It wouldn't happen to your kid. So what do you care? So that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to say. Hey, Jose, what's up? What's going on? I need to put up the link in a minute. But the approach about it is not it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, and I was already being arguing against that. No, it's the same thing. No. The thing is that this is something that I already talked about. I already talked about this last year because the common Republican, now MAGA narrative is that, okay, Democratic administration, they let the borders open and all the illegals can come in and there is no consequence. They just let them in, they give them everything, there is no consequence for it. Right? Right? But what is it that's happening now? What is it that happens happened in the last couple of days? These same MAGAs that were saying that the Democrats let everybody in without consequences, they don't deport anybody. Now they are bringing up address of Congress by Bill Clinton and Barack Obama about enforcing immigration laws, and now they're starting to bring up numbers about the amounts of about the amounts of people that they did deport. Now numbers matter. Now facts matter to them. The rest of the time, they could just run their mouth, tell whatever they felt like it, and say it as it was a statement of fact. But now, because there are being protests about not wanting to have kids terrorized by ICE and doing all of this indiscriminate arrest, sometimes of citizens, sometimes of people that are legally in the country, now they're starting to bring up these past things. Now they want to bring up numbers. Now they want to bring up something that is verifiable. Yeah. Again, you can moralize with me all you want, but since it doesn't affect you, I'm just showing some empathy to the situation. Since it doesn't affect you, then you don't care about what happens. What do you think, Denise? Why do you think that we're being sent to elementary schools? They were being sent to elementary schools to arrest them, or at least to bully them and terrorizing them. Yeah, I never said that it was okay. If they're undocumented, then there is a problem there. Mm-hmm. Now, there are certain immigration attorneys. There are people that have some legal expertise that are putting out videos and kind of like bulletins and telling them, look, this is what you do. If you are confronted by ICE, then this is what you do, and this is what you say. This is what you don't say. This and that. I'm just again. I never said that it was okay. I never said that it was okay to be in the country without a legal status, because I was in Mississippi. I met many of them. That will have these conversations with each other. Some of them did have some type of a visa and were in the country. And I will talk to them and I will let them know, look, if what are the requirements for the visa that you have, and they will tell me, look, I have to be here for a certain amount of time. I will have to travel back, and and then I come back to keep it in good standing. It depends. It depends on the visa, and I will tell them, and I will repeat it. Look, stay on that. Stay with those instructions. Make sure that your visa is in good standing, because there is that thing. It is true. People that they get into the country. They get into the country legally. This is something that a lot of people, you're not gonna hear from the MAGAs. That is like about half of the people that come into the country actually coming in the country legally. Yes, yes, you can keep seeing all of these close-ups of the caravans. They may not have papers, but many people do come into the country legally, and they might outlive their visas. Okay. Hey, Eddie, what's happening? Imagine a kid without documented. They come home. What is suggesting that they do? That they do instead. Yes, I saw that. Yeah. Just child mass deportation. Okay. Okay. Well, the alternative may be what has already been done before. What is it that the past administrations did? Because they did got a lot of people together, and they were able to send people home, send people to their country. What did the previous administrations did? We could look at that. I don't know the details. But the first thing is that the previous administrations, the ones that are being brought up now for deporting a lot of people, they didn't go on national TV and didn't start opening their mouth talking about criminals and rapists and this and that, and singling out nationalities, groups, or ethnic backgrounds. They didn't start pointing fingers. They did say that they were going to enforce the laws, enforce the immigration laws, but they didn't. But they didn't start this whole demonization thing. They didn't start trying to turn other groups of people against them. They were able to do a decent job, and they were able to still maintain a high approval rating. Okay, well, I mean, again, you are the one that is talking about zoos. You are the one who's talking about cages. What cages are you talking about? What cages? In the States for not one, we're not here legally. Even if some who have been for years not getting into their citizenship. Well, I wouldn't demonizing them. I wouldn't demonize them. I would tell them, okay, what are you waiting for? Why you haven't taken care of that? I'll be the first to tell them that. 34. How come we start telling our people to pick up their children and self-deport before ICE gets, and we can pitch in? But, well, maybe you should run for office and go to the town hall meeting and make the suggestion. I mean, you seem to have the answers. Why don't you run for office and let them know? Tell them how it's done. I mean, I'm not being, what is it called, facetious? But since you seem to have the answers, then do that. No, I'll tell you what I have seen. I have seen the chain link fences that they build inside the kind of like large warehouses where they might have So they might have some of these kids. I have seen them. I have seen the pictures. It's just that you bring up cages and people think about little cages where you put your dog in them. Kids are not being put in little doggy cages. That's not what it is. Okay, again. I was just looking at this post. I already looked it up. It was chain link fences inside, kind of like what large building, kind of like warehouse types. I know that you're gonna disagree. You're gonna say you're gonna start bringing up the little dog cages with little kids being put in them. That's not what it was. That's not what it was. Yeah, yeah. At least we could do that. Okay, okay. You have seen it because I did look at the pictures and I didn't see the little cages. The little doggy cages that you're talking about. I didn't. That's not what I found. I just think a lot of our collective is fear mongering. Because if this was the other way around, we will cheer the Americans being deported. Will we? Will we? Because I don't know. Those are of our people that consider themselves to be so American will be calling for war. Even the ones that have our own ethnic background, they will be calling for war. Hell, we're already being dragged into war because of all the tariffs. Is this whole just cause expansionism? Just cause expansionism 2.0. That's what's going on. That's what's going on already right now. For the legal migrants in the cages. Okay. The indignation from who? Indignation from who? Because I know where you're going with it. I know where you're going with it, Dennis. You're putting the whole blame for it and squarely put on Obama. And yes, there were chain link fences and closures that were built. There were. But there was a legitimate problem that Obama was having to deal with, and that was that. And this is something I don't, I strongly disagree with, and that was kids showing up at the border already by themselves. That was a legitimate problem that Obama was having. And yes, they may have been put in these enclosure places with the chain link fences. Yes, they may have. What were you expecting him to do? A lot of these kids, a lot of those kids were showing up already to the border by themselves. And that ended up you can demonize Obama all you want for being the the one that puts kids in little doggy cages, but he was the one that came up with the DACA. That's something that the MAGAs don't talk about. He was the one that passed the legislation for DACA. Now it's not perfect. It's not perfect because DACA um, is not something. It's not a pathway to citizenship. I didn't look more into the details because I understand that Biden did try to put in some provisions that will facilitate the DACA recipients to apply for citizenship or some legal status. But as of today, there is no such thing. DACA is not a pathway to citizenship, unfortunately. Okay. Okay, let's say it may have been Reagan, but all this time I have been hearing that DACA was something that Obama did. Maybe it is. No, no, because like I was saying, Obama didn't get in front of a camera and started pointing fingers at different nationalities and calling people rapists. He wasn't doing that. He didn't mention that there were some laws that had to be enforced. Sure he was. Sure he was. Hey, Cubana, what's going on? Hey. Well, the whole dry food, wet food actually needed to happen, but it hasn't done with all of the. It didn't necessarily ended with all of the provisions of the Cuban Adjustment Act. It may not be so easy for them to get in, for the Cubans to come in. Well, I don't know about that. They could. Well, could they have been deported? Maybe. Well, your president's friends love exploiting Latinos. Your president's. Come on, let's be a little more specific. And your president's friends may be the ones that will keep this whole thing about mass deportations. They might be the ones who keep it from happening because it's going to affect them. It's already affecting them. It's already costing them. And I don't want. And I'm not saying that I want exploitation. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. You think that I want our people to be exploited? That's not what I'm talking about. Then a lot of other Hispanics were fine with it. There is a reason for it. The whole wet food, dry food, it being taken away. A lot of other Latinos were okay with it, believe it or not. What is a rap? What's a rap? Oh, okay. Same goes for the H-1B visa. Well, that's what your president's friend, Elon Musk, wants, and the other ousted MAGA, Ramaswamy. You don't hear about it anymore. He's already been kicked to the curb. There wasn't any racial tension inside that most people didn't even know about him. And in dry food, wet food. Yeah, because I mean, he just got to it, got that done, and he didn't went in front of a camera doing a whole bunch of announcing. Infrastructure to deport 50 million. Okay. Mhm. Ah, okay. Yeah. That hasn't been uh, uh, law for a long time, but I understand that several of the other provisions of the Cuban Adjustment Act are still a thing. It's just that it's more difficult for them to get over here. I mean, if they catch them on Ayola and South Beach, they could still be deported. I don't know. I don't know because of the particular circumstance of where they come from, they could still try to claim asylum. The asylum is not granted automatically. They could still try to claim it, but it may not be granted automatically. Elon is an Afrikaner. He was born and raised in apartheid. He's trying to bring that shit over here. That we're getting other benefits that I believe Trump next. Well, I mean, if well, if he if he next them, then uh, a lot of the Miami Cubans are gonna be looking real dumb because that's what they voted for. That's what they voted for. The same with the Venezuelans. I mean, any of them that were supporting Agent Orange, they were so happy about being over here, but they supported Agent Orange. They get deported. They're getting what they deserve. Now he already sent somebody to meet with Nicolas Maduro. I don't know what was it about, but he already has somebody meeting with with Nicolas Maduro because those are the guys that he likes. Agent Orange. Those are the guys that he likes. He has so much smoke for the Canadians. He has so much. He has so much smoke for the Danish, but with Nicolas Maduro, he's sending envoys to meet with him on his behalf. Yeah, yeah, yes, they did, and they supported it. They supported it, and unfortunately, Venezuelans are not looking very good with some of the attitudes that they have and this sense of entitlement that they're having. Every Latino they arrested or stopped on a traffic stop. Every Latino. And any Latino that maybe they didn't have papers, because I haven't had to deal with none of that. I was already in the country by then, in the mainland United States. Run the fingerprints of every Latino they arrested or stopped on a traffic stop through ICE database. Well, I have been since I have gotten my permit. I had to give up my fingerprints, but it was to a Texas department that could very well be connected to ICE. That was even criticized for being highly what is highly discriminatory is what is going on right now. That's highly discriminatory. They're arresting Puerto Ricans now. That's highly discriminatory. Again, not the same. Not the same. If they were doing the whole thing with the fingerprints, then that might have been something that, given the situation, might be needed to do. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I can understand the logic of it. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am brown looking. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm a white guy now because you say so. Is that what it is? You are the ethnic one, and I'm a white guy all of a sudden because Denise said it. Okay. And it's just what's happening in Arizona. It's bleeding heart situation. Americans are acting the way you are. We feel some type of way because they look like us, so let them stay knowing full well they're breaking laws. Mhm. Okay. Oh, what happened here? Hey, I mean, of course, there's people like Ramon. So, oh, it's the people like Ramon assume everyone is MAGA. So, when did I say that everyone is MAGA? MAGA is as MAGA does. Like Ramon assume everyone is MAGA, so they can remain a Democrat. All right. That's your logic. All right. Oh, lovely thing. I got you on the. Oh, okay. All right. No, I was counting. I was counting on you to keep calling me, saying how much of a white guy I am and how much of a Democrat I am. I was actually counting on you doing that. But if you have to go, then that's fine too. So you have a good one. You have a good one. Take care. Okay, that's one of those bus terms. Trauma bonding. That's a bus terms. I'm just showing some empathy because the situation, even though we don't have the same situation. Well, it could very well be. That's the thing. That's the thing because we too many of us were thinking that we are immune. Too many of us are thinking that we are immune to what is happening to these people. They don't understand that it can somewhat, in some way, something like that can end up happening to some of us. I think the problem is how they're going about this. It's stressful, and what people don't realize is that this is a big distraction for what's to come. There are bigger things that are going on, Fulana. Absolutely. I agree. There are bigger things going on with the so-called leadership of this country trying to go to war with other countries at the same time, threatening war, but being very nice to Maduro, being very nice to Nicolas Maduro, not saying anything about Vladimir Putin, not saying anything at all, but but bucking up with a lot of attitude to Panama, threatening to invade Panama. And having a lot of attitude with Mexico because maybe it has to do with the president now being a woman, but she doesn't seem to be afraid. I don't think she's afraid. People use that with Black Americans, and but we do it. It's okay, okay, okay. Well, I don't get into arguments about race. I'm gonna do a little bit of clarification. Notice that I haven't brought up Black Americans at all. That just makes nonsense. We're trauma bonding with people that look like us. We're not in the same situation. Okay, it's relating. We know we're minorities. Why is that so hard to understand? Yes, because China runs the canal and the other two ports. Well, they have like a diplomatic relations with Panama, who controls the canal, but the Chinese are not telling Panama to restrict anybody from going through it. It's a major shipping lane. A lot of these ships that have to carry goods back and forth. Yeah, Honduras has a female president also. Argentina has a female president also. Well, had. I don't know. It's been a while since Argentina had a female president. Peru has a female president too. Yeah. Puerto Rico has a female governor, but she's trash. She was trash coming in. She's until she gets kicked out. Hopefully they kick her out, and they don't elect somebody from the same party again, because we kind of like we mess up. We complain about somebody from a party, then they elect this next person from the same party back in office. Like, what the fuck? The hell are we doing? Is dividing everyone who isn't a multimillionaire will feel it because of the whole tariffs thing. And we have been talking about it, how tariffs work, how the cost of the tariffs are going to be passed down to the consumer. They're not going to make everything. They're not going to make anything. They're not making anything. Just the talk of, of the tariffs is making the cost of everything keep going up and up and up. All that talk about the eggs, all about the talk about the price of eggs. Wasn't that a big thing during the campaign? Oh, we need to bring down the cost of eggs. And look at what's happening. The cost of eggs is only going up. The cost of eggs is only going up. No, no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Unless the relevance of it can be pointed out, what's the relevance to the conversation, to what we're talking about, then no, 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 let's not make it about race. I don't want to hear it. Let me. I was about. I was going to put up the link. Let me see if I can pin it, because I was about to do just that when it comes to pinning the link. What's going? Okay, okay. Now another. I'm reading it. I'm seeing it like right now. Another plane, but this one caught fire in Houston. Here in Texas. A plane caught fire, but it was still on the runway. Thankfully, it hadn't taken off yet. Huh? What the hell is going on with the aircraft? What the hell? All right, I'm gonna be bringing a guest, and let's welcome Jose. What's going on?
Good afternoon, Ramon. Thank you very much for allowing me on your platform.
Hey, thanks for coming off, man. What's in your mind? What you think?
Okay, you're not okay. A lot of what I'm going to say, you're not going to agree with. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
say that. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but this is the thing. This country has not dealt with the illegal crisis for decades. It's been a
Right.
failure of both Democrats and Republicans to deal with it. Now, many people may not like the way that Trump is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is, each country has a right to deal with
Mm-hmm.
those who enter the country illegally and to have these people deported. The concern is try to do it in the most humane way possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, no. I'm not saying that as a country, somebody's not in the country legally, they can't be deported. Not once. Tell me, show me when did I say that is a bad thing for a country to deport people? Show me when did I say such a thing? That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Okay.
saying. What I'm saying is like the approach to it, because the MAGAs in the last couple of days they were going on and on, bringing up what happened during the Clinton administration, all the people that were deported, and during the Obama administration, all the people that were deported. I'm just talking about what was the difference, because neither one of these other two guys went on television and started pointing fingers and demonizing people's countries or ethnic backgrounds, or demonizing uh, particular groups. And you guys, you and I have talked about this, and I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna show it in a minute. But first, I want to welcome the 18 letter. What's going on, man?
Shout out to my boy Ramon. Shout out to my YouTube pops, Jose Negron. How you guys doing today?
Fine. I'm just dealing with the premature warm weather. It's 29 degrees outside.
You know what,
Uh,
Jose? You put a real bad hex on me, man. And you know what? You need to come here and move to the Midwest. I'm gonna tell you, all of that talking about winning, you brought me bad luck, man. Because the worst thing could have happened to me at my home, the worst thing that you can think that can happen in the dead of winter time, and I'm waiting for it to be installed next week. My furnace went out.
ah,
My furnace went completely out
damn, damn.
in the middle when it was 3 degrees outside, 5 degrees outside, and
Oh,
then
Ooh.
on
okay.
top of that,
Okay,
a couple of
you need to swap cities with Jose, because I'm sure, because Jose skin is well insulated like a polar bear. I'm sure that he'll be fine and dandy with that, with those temperatures.
Well,
You need to be in more tropical weather. You need to do better. Thankfully, down here, I'm in North Texas. Thankfully, here is already hitting around the 70-degree mark, and feeling good relatively considering all the madness that we're dealing with. At least the temperatures are going up, and I'm very grateful for.
well,
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, it was so cold because Wisconsin is slightly colder than Illinois. It was so cold that I was going to Wisconsin, and my GPS, I'm going passing Milwaukee, and my
Mhm.
GPS fell from the window. I had to pull over to readjust my GPS in the window, and I could not move. And one of the reasons that I could not move is when I hit the brakes. Apparently, it was so cold, the brake calipers froze up on the truck, and it froze to the rotors, and it wouldn't release. So
Damn.
I couldn't move. I was stuck on the side of the road for 6 hours.
Oh man, I feel for you. What's important is that you were safe and that you're safe now. That nothing actually happened to you directly. But
it's true. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is true. Unfortunately, we haven't had a cold winter day this winter so far.
mhm. Sure. That's that's not what I'm. That's not what I have been told. Remember, You're not the only person that I know that lives in New York City, in New York, in the New York area. So that's I'm being telling. I'm being told different, but okay, that's what
Okay,
you
but heading back, but going back to the topic. Okay.
say. Hmm.
Well, it is true that Trump has said a lot of negative rhetoric regarding the undocumented. Okay. Obama deported large numbers of these people. Okay. Clinton
Hmm.
deported some of these people. I don't know what was done under Bush 43. So while I would strongly disagree with the rhetoric, okay, the fact of the matter is this: many of these people had years to
Hmm.
try to legalize their status, and for reasons unknown, they have not done so.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I'll give you that. I'm not going to argue against that part because anybody who has had a chance to do something about it should have done something about it, um, and gotten their situation straightened out and gotten their status straightened out. I'm not arguing about it. Um,
Yeah.
but the
Now,
whole thing about the kind of like the way that this is being handled, it's just not gonna do well. I mean, he thinks Agent Orange is thinking that he's gonna be saving anything or anybody, but I can show you how it's been done before. We can review it with an old video of mine in which we have already talked about it with you two guys in it. So I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But Jose, were you saying?
yeah. Um, now, actually, there is this program that's on the National Geographic channel. I forgot the name of it, but what it does, it deals with people who have tried to bring smoke illegal drugs into countries like Peru, um, Brazil, Italy, and some of them try to enter the country illegally with false documentation.
Hmm.
And the way that the authorities have dealt with these people, well, yes, they were arrested, but they were treated more humanely. Now,
Hmm.
my concern is I see is mass deportations as a necessary evil. The concern it has to be done as humanely as possible, providing that that these people do not resist, and they and make sure that only these people are deported.
Hmm. No, and yeah. It's like you see kind of like an immigration enforcement in other countries, but it's usually all calm and there isn't any type of unnecessary roughness or aggressiveness to it. And ICE has been around for a minute. It's been around for a while, and the previous Democratic administrations have used ICE. But notice that you never really hear about people kind of like chasing after, doing overly profiling. There may have been an occasion, there have been a situation here and there, and I don't think it was absolutely perfect, but it was handled differently. It was handled differently. It was significantly more humane the way it was done. Here right now we have somebody who is drunk on power talking about sending undocumented people to Guantanamo. And Guantanamo, okay, what is it about Guantanamo? Which is a place that should have been closed already. That's a first expansion era territory that was established back in 1903. That should have been closed a long time ago. The thing about Guantanamo is that the Constitution and civil rights and human rights don't apply there. It doesn't really apply.
We've all heard the stories of Guantanamo Bay. Everyone, we've all heard the stories of Guantanamo Bay, the torture, the the beatings, waterboarding, all types of stuff. We've all heard it in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, and after doing that, those that didn't pass away, that were being held in detention in from the Middle East on the so-called war on terror, many of those people ended up having to let them go because they were just being held there without actual charges. They were not being put on trial for anything. They just were held there for years. Whatever happened to them may have happened to them, but eventually they end up letting many of them go. I don't think all of them are still there. I don't know the details right now. But that's what is being talked about. Having undocumented people sent to Guantanamo. Many of them are not going to make it out. So that shouldn't be an option. I just don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to further discuss my point regarding these people here illegally for years and not doing anything, there are organizations that are ready to assist them. In many of these cities, you have Catholic Charities that does help deal with people who are documented. There are other different organizations, and there's organization that could provide legal advice and legal representation for these individuals to try to legalize their status. So I am not going to accept the fact that these people have been here illegally for years and didn't have options and didn't have resources. They had. It's just that for whatever reason, they did not.
And the resources may be there. If you listen to the radio, to the Spanish language radio down here, you hear the advertisements all the time about services for migration, for people that may not have the right status, how they can change it, legal consultations. There are whole firms, lawyer firms that deal with that. I hear you listen to Spanish language radio down here, you can hear the advertisements all the time. There is no excuse. I'll give you that. I'll give you that all day. Yeah. So it is a thing. But I wanted to go back. We're going to be going down memory lane because, like I said in the beginning, there was this whole notion. They may not be talking about that anymore because it will have been debunked already. But there was posts that I was seeing online talking about bringing up addresses, speeches from the likes of Bill Clinton and Obama, bringing out. They were talking about enforcement of the border. But the thing is that you, Jose, and you, 18 letter, we have already talked about this before. It just so happens that I have queued up. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna share it. It just so happens that it was us three who were talking about this. I mean, look at us. Look at us there. This is us last year. Wow, we were talking about the same thing because they were bringing up that there was that Bill Clinton was talking about that there was gonna be enforcement of the border, and we have already talked about this last year. It was kind of like a gotcha moment where the maggots were trying to own the lips. It was an own the lips moment, a gotcha moment, and this is what they were bringing up. Let me see if I can play it. This is us talking about this last year. Um, I'm going to show who I thought was the one that really deported the most. But I was gonna be mistaken saying that. I hate my stuttering. I hate it. I hate it. I have been working on it all this time. I hate my stutter. But let's keep watching. This is an older video, but I remember seeing this. Let me see if I can share. Listen to what he says. This is interesting.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
And this is the clip that some magazines were bringing up in the last couple of days. Like this was supposed to surprise us that we don't think like them. We already know about this. Us three on this panel, we were talking about this last year. This wasn't this isn't a surprise. Like what the hell? Remember, they were trying to own us. They're supposed to be so superior, so much smarter than us. They really thought that people like us wouldn't know about this. Like, yeah, like, hang on. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah. You guys remember? You guys remember? You saw yourself on the.
Yeah,
on the,
I remember.
Yeah, so
we were talking about this. The only guy was
the thing with this whole situation is that I've observed America is a tiger that never changes stripes. You know, if you've been here, like you know America like the back of your hand. What they actually did was create a problem and then offer the solution to the problem. It's not really, they brought a multitude of different people in for cheap labor, which the corporations run this country. They brought a multitude of people in for cheap labor, and unfortunately, with the racial undertones in this country, you have a certain population that feel like they're losing their demographic. And they resort to what that population has historically resorted to when they felt threatened. Donald Trump, with him being a businessman, found a way to placate on that and touch that base. Is Donald Trump is Donald Trump a racist? I wouldn't say he's probably not as he's probably just as racist as any other white businessman. Who knows? Is does his base look at him as a reason um to have this emergence of this type of hatred that that they've been that they've been displaying? Yeah. And what's going on is that we've seen in the media is that they've created this issue of it being illegal immigration because of labor, and now they're trying to show like they're creating a solution, which I don't believe. I Part of me believe is just to scare people. They're not going to be able to deport large numbers of people back. We'll see as time tells, but like you said, the Republicans are in on it. The Republicans have all of these different companies and stuff like that where they hire illegal immigration because the bottom line of America is they don't want to pay people. They don't want to pay Americans American wages enough to sustain of a family on. So this is the end result of that, and it is to certain people of a certain group that's been fed this this narrative that America is for them. They're at the top of the food chain. These people feel like they're losing their numbers. They're going to be wiped out, and they're going to be overtaken by another group of people that don't look like them. That's feeding into what's going on as well. And the same people is a lot of people don't realize it's not about working hard. It's never been about working hard. It's not, no matter how much you want to say it's about working hard, no matter how much you think, this whole American dream, all of that, it was all it's all something that's been sold forever. You get it shows you when it's all about, when you think those things, you see how the crosshairs can be turned right around you. Just 5 years ago, we was all talking about the whole George Floyd thing and
Mhm.
racial tensions and different things, and people was telling Black Americans to be this way or that way or whatever that didn't really know anything about America. Now, as you
Mhm.
can see, the pendulum has switched 5 years later, and now it's other groups that's in the crosshairs. And if anybody has noticed, we ain't heard nothing about the Ukrainians.
Oh
Ain't
no,
nobody
no,
said nothing about the Ukrainians at all.
no, because we have an administration that uh, an administration that never ever says anything about Vladimir Putin. Having to talk about the war in the Ukraine will mean having to say something about Vladimir Putin, and the current president is not gonna do that. He's one of those guys that he looks up to. He's been showing by him never ever having his name in his mouth for anything at all, ever, ever. He never dares to say anything. He has so much to say about the Canadians. He has so much to say about Panama. He's not really said. He's not really gone too hard on Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, but also the whole tariffs thing. He wants to have a tariff war, but she doesn't look like she's afraid. She looks like, yeah, bring it on, because she already said that they're gonna hit tariff with tariffs. It's gonna be tit for tat, and that's the whole thing with Panama, threatening Panama, wanting to invade Panama. Um, I don't know. I don't know what kind of backing China is gonna give them, and they have a good relationship with Panama. Maybe this has been going on for a long time. The same thing with Mexico. Mexico, you can look up a recent picture of the Mexican president taking a picture with the Chinese president, with Xi Jinping, basically letting the world know that she's cool with him. So there is an uh, there is kind of like a diplomacy. There is a diplomacy going on there. Whatever it is that you want to think about China, they do diplomacy better. That's why you see the Chinese eh, all over all over the world. In so many places in the world, you see Chinese, and usually when it comes diplomatically, I don't hear a lot of countries complaining too much about China when it comes to the diplomacy. You can go on and on about human rights violations, then still having gulags, um, and people not having civil rights or human rights in China. You can say that, but when it comes to diplomacy with other countries, China seems to be doing it better than than what we have over here.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know. There is this trade. The trade war has started, and the Canadians are getting caught up in it. They already said that also gonna do their own tariffs. They're gonna do the tit for tat thing with the tariffs. And maybe I think with China too, but China can do the tariffs worse because we do need them. That whole bringing manufacturing here to the United States is wishful thinking. It will be ideal,
It'll
but
never. It'll never happen. It'll
I think
never happen
wishful
again.
thinking. Yeah, yeah.
The manufacturing is gone, and it's been gone for a very long time. The people that think that America is going to get back to what America was with manufacturing steel, the automobile industry. No, these people are too greedy. They would never revert back to wanting to pay a large sum of money to Americans to build the
Yeah.
country. It's not about building the country up. It's about building their pockets and hiding behind the narrative that we need to build the country up. This is what this is all about. They come up with every other solution but to pay people. They don't want to pay people. So there
Hmm.
is like trying to take a triangle and put it in a circle hole, or take a square and put it in a triangle hole. They're scattering around to figure out how are we going to be able to keep the money that we're making at the expense of the people, and they're leaving the people at the bottom to fight for crumbs. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. And of course, just like America does what America's always done, they're going to use somebody as the scapegoat for the people's attention to be on, for them to blame, instead of actually looking at the people at the top. And most people are too stupid to even see that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Not necessarily, if not stupid, at least short memory, because there is a big
very.
thing of short memories in the United States. It seems like too many people have short memories. They're very quickly to forget things, and there are people that think that the tariffs are supposed to be a good thing, and again, those that don't learn from history are gonna be doomed to repeat it. I mean, because the whole thing,
Absolutely.
because this whole thing about the tariffs, this has been tried before. It has been tried before. Look up the Smoot-Hawley Act. I think it is from 1929. I have talked about it before, you guys. The Smoot-Hawley Act, that was an act that was passed before the Depression for placing, it was about placing tariffs on imports that came from other countries. And, and it didn't work. It didn't work. It only made the situation worse.
But guys, in all fairness, last year's election proved that there's a lot of people there that are woefully and willingly ignorant regarding the issues. Because
Mhm.
how else can you explain the fact that days after the election, you have people doing Google searches talking about, can I change my vote? And
Yeah.
what are tariffs? I mean, look, this is, I mean,
I didn't know what tariffs were and how they work.
yeah,
I mean,
okay,
embarrassing.
okay, but Ramon, didn't we or did we not try to educate people regarding the issues? Didn't we devote
Yeah.
streams back and forth regarding this? Didn't
We
I
tried to warn
say
people.
okay?
And the whole thing with Project 2025, I specifically remember you and I trying to warn people about it, and many people were in denial. Many people, I saw people online, certain people, I'm not going to say names, and they were being all up in denial. That no, he has nothing to do. Agent Orange has nothing to do with Project 2025. Now they're enacting everything. Now
I
they're
mean,
enacting that was the playbook all along.
I actually devoted a whole stream, one stream on Project 2025 and Agenda 47. I devoted whole streams
Yes,
about it. And I
yes,
actually
you did.
explained it into detail. And I told people, do not take my word for it. Okay, actually read it for yourself. Now, and I'm not saying take my word for it. You go into my streams, and I actually talked about it in detail. But what happened was that you had a lot of people who voted without thinking. Okay, now
Mhm.
I don't know whether because the fact that a woman was running for president and they just couldn't see themselves voting for a woman or whatever. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, we had large segments of our voting public that were woefully and willingly ignorant. And then only after this person gets elected, they start doing your research.
Yeah,
Here's one thing.
they did it backwards.
Here's
Hey,
one thing you
Fulana,
gotta.
really quick, Fulana. You said the MAGA hat is made in China. A lot of things are made in China. Even the Bibles, those Bibles that Agent Orange was selling for like $60, that cost him like $3, made in China. That the pages will stick together. It wasn't. They were made of very good quality. You try to open up the pages and they will stick, and you could end up ripping them because they were sticky. But go ahead, Hakim.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I was just gonna say here's the thing with what Jose was saying just a minute ago. The more I get older and the more I observe people, is a lot of people have a hard time dealing with the truth. The truth
Mhm.
can be very overwhelming to a lot of people, especially when you've based your identity in a lie or when you've believed something for so long. You know, a lot of people don't want to have knowledge as far as learning about things that they feel like, it may challenge what they've been raised to think their whole life. Some people don't want to deal with that. And it's a lot of people out here, they want to be led or misled. It's kind of like that song by the Eurythmics. You remember that song, Sweet Dreams by the
Yes.
Yeah,
Eurythmics?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Some people want to abuse you. Some people just love being abused. It's a
yeah.
lot of people out there that want somebody to lead them and don't have to critically think for themselves to or have
Well,
to think,
I
you
could
know.
give you an example. I could give you an example of that, but Jose will be mad at me. I could give you an example of what you just said, but Jose will be mad at me.
I
And
take you probably have to do with Christianity and the Bible.
yes, because
Okay.
many
Okay.
people just follow whatever the religious leader says, and they don't think for themselves. What do you think? What do you think the whole born again Christian means? It means that mentally you are reverting to being a baby, and you need
No,
somebody to tell you what to do and lead you
no,
and
no,
tell you.
no, no.
Yeah,
It does not. It does
yes.
not. It does what?
It's not safe.
Okay.
I heard a
Let me
priest saying
educate
that.
you. Let me educate you what it means to be born again, because I'm the only one in the panel that actually is.
Okay.
Okay. I believe that we are all spiritually dead due to sin because the Bible says so. Okay, so when someone has an experience and become born again, it does not mean becoming a baby. What it means to become from being spiritually dead to be spiritually alive. And I wish that you would do a little bit more research, okay, on this topic. Okay,
Mhm.
I understand where you're coming from. Your perspective is a little different, and I get it. But And in fact, the Bible it tells us not to trust in man because man is very deceitful. It
Mhm.
teaches us to trust in God and God alone.
Hmm. Well, I just told you what a pastor was actually saying. A pastor.
Okay.
But okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to give an example of what Hakeem was saying, and I think it's
Okay.
fine.
I think, in all fairness, that's not a valid example. But I understand your point of view.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Ramon, I left a video in the private chat that I wanted you to play. Get your opinion
Okay.
on.
Let me. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Let me see if I can. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know this. I'm gonna play it, but I have already seen it. I
Oh,
mean,
you've
this.
already seen it? Okay, you don't have to play it if you've seen it already.
No, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it for the people that maybe haven't been able to see it. But this is expected. What the hell? This is expected, of course. Let's see if I can. Let me try and play from the
I
beginning.
don't give two shits that families are being separated, somebody's getting deported. I actually find it hilarious. It gives me a great deal of comfort. I have no sympathy that your child might grow up without a father because he got sent back to Mexico or whatever. I mean, y'all are welcome to go with him. Don't forget that's an option. That's a choice that you're making, right? I don't have any sympathy for your little videos that you're making on social media with all the tears. I don't give a shit. I'm actually fucking laughing at you that you're sitting there crying for attention. Okay. I find you guys to be subhumans. All right. Now, while you're sitting there judging me because I don't care that families are going to be separated from each other, I'd invite you to recall that hundreds of J6ers were separated from their families for something that equates to little more than a trespassing charge.
Okay, false equivalency. Equivalency. We'll get into it.
Where were you then? Okay, bye.
Wow. Call people subhumans. That sounds very similar. That sounds very similar to
It is expected.
that's
It is expected
yeah.
of white supremacists. So, absolutely, it is what is expected from these types. I mean, they're feeling comfortable and very bold with speaking what is it that they're really thinking. I mean, this is something that we should expect. That's why I don't get all overly mad. It's bothering. It bothers me. It bothers me, but I don't let it get me overly mad or emotional. That's not the intelligent way to react to it. Does it bother me? Hell yeah, it bothers me. But it should be. It should bother me in a way that it makes me think. That it makes me think about it, not having to react in overly emotional without thinking, kind of like thinking it through. Now, this woman that you shared, my understanding is that people got at her. They ended up finding out where she worked. I think she ended up losing her job. I mean, they get overly comfortable, and there are consequences. Okay, freedom of speech. Well,
Freedom of consequences as well.
Freedom of consequences. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Excuse me, if I can just chime in. Okay. I do have sympathy, when families are being separated because of someone's status. But again, I go back to what I've said just a few minutes ago. Okay. First of all, if you're here illegally, you need to do everything you can within means to try to legalize your status. There are resources that are available for those to help to legalize their status. And yes, the Bible, the book that you like to cast aspersion, does talk about strangers, and it talks about we need to treat strangers with humanely, because the children of Israel were strangers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what the detail that I wanted to get on that video where she was doing this false equivalency about the undocumented and the so-called J6ers. the J6ers were a bunch of terrorists. When
That's
you do
absolutely what they were.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you do acts of violence for political motivation, that's being a terrorist by definition. A few people ended up dying, and they were police officers, and not all of them. Most of them were police officers, but a few of them ended up dying because of that. That's a false equivalency. I mean, she was trying to minimize it, making it seem that it was just a trespassing charge. No, 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 no. It was like 5 police officers that ended up dying, and men,
People,
and
they
a whole
stormed the
bunch of them.
Capitol. Oh,
And a whole bunch of them, which is a federal building, and a bunch of other police officers ended up having to go on disability because they got beaten so bad that they couldn't work anymore. I mean, no, that's not a trespassing charge. That's a mass act of violence. I hate it. I hate it when these MAGAs trying to do these false equivalences. You know, I'm gonna call them out every time.
and you know what's crazy? Do you remember, right, when the lady, I can't remember her name, but when the lady got shot, she got shot, right?
Mhm.
After the I don't know if you would call him a police officer or whatever, but he was guarding the Capitol. After he sat there and told them, don't climb through here, I will open fire. Don't climb through
Yeah,
here, I will open fire. She climbed through, he opened fire.
yeah.
Now he was met with all types of racial racial slurs and everything else. And this was
Of
a police
course.
officer that was defending the capital of the country that you all love so much. But when the roles is reversed, well, if they just would have complied, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
Double standard.
same thing
Mhm.
didn't apply to this woman while they're running through the Capitol offices, beating up, police officers, damaging people's offices. I believe even urinating in people's
Oh yeah, yeah,
offices and
yeah.
all
They
types of
they
stuff.
use the
Like,
building, the hallways of the building. They use them as their own personal toilet, and they were soiling all over the place. I mean, so yeah, they should be charged for littering. On top of that, and should have been made to clean it up themselves. Yeah,
like,
they did that
and
too.
you can't even compare. You can't even compare the two. But this should be a message to a lot of other people with like the conversations that we had, because we talked about a lot of these things for the last 5 years, man. All of
Hmm.
the people that thought that just because you have this admixture and you got this all in your background, that shit don't mean
Hmm.
nothing in America. It never meant anything in America.
Hmm.
Oh, people still follow the one drop rule. The one drop rule is very alive and well, and well in
I believe
America,
it.
as you can see. It's like, so when people sit there and they even the fact that a person may be of direct Spanish ancestry, you can look at Martin Sheen and Charlie Sheen. What was their last name before they changed it? Estevez. Why a
Esteves.
lot of
Yeah, yeah. There is the other. There is the other Emilio Esteves. He didn't.
Emilio, he kept his name. He kept his
He was
name
the
for sure.
one, even though he was very white looking, he kept his Spanish name. He's Emilio Esteves. He's also an actor. But Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen, the last name is Esteves originally, but they changed it to,
All the
yeah.
countless small hat actors that have changed their name because they didn't want people to know that they were small hat or Israeli.
Yeah.
This country caters to the WASP people. Okay, so when people sit there and try to say, a lot of people out here trying to get close proximity up that ladder, when they feel like they have no use for you, they're gonna kick you right down. And
Hmm.
it's been like that from the jump. And we know, we know, if you did your history and living in this country, we know. So like, a lot of people are finding out right now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just that simple.
No, I mean, I wasn't asleep. I mean,
Oh yeah, of course I know you wasn't, Ramon.
me being Puerto
Yeah.
Rican, but I made it a point not to be asleep and to low key expect some of this mess to be happening. I wasn't expecting for us to be us Puerto Ricans to be arrested by ICE, which is a thing now. It wasn't. I didn't know it was gonna get to that, but I'm not surprised at the same time. So,
That
and what you were saying, what you were mentioning about the small hats, maybe I think I have a theory. I have a theory. I'm gonna float this theory. I may be absolutely, but I have a theory. Well, when I was mentioning the president, the Mexican president, she's Jewish, and maybe that may have something to do with why Trump doesn't go in on her that hard, because he goes in hard on other kind of like other nationalities, and he goes in hard on somebody like Justin Trudeau. But but with the Mexican president, he kind of holds back a little bit. And I think it has to do with her being Jewish. I mean, I may be dreaming, inventing, making this up. I may be wrong, but I think it has something to do with it.
or maybe she's just a stronger leader than what he expected as far as a woman leader be.
Yeah, because she kind of like stands up to him and tells him, okay, we're gonna meet your tariffs tit for tat. You hit up with a tariff, we're gonna hit you with tariffs back. And she is very very calm about it. She's not capitulating to him at all. And she's already talking about that she's gonna unveil like a plan B of her economic blueprint. She's gonna be unveiling a plan B, I think tomorrow. So let's see what happens there.
See, that's the reason why I mentioned, and I think it was um, Denise's last stream, or maybe with X the next one. I don't have a problem with mass deportation. The thing is, it has to be done professionally, and to make sure
Hmm.
that we don't accidentally arrest U.S. citizens.
They're doing
Okay.
that right now. That's the thing. I'm
Okay,
not
I
talking about.
get it, but okay.
Yeah,
I get it, but that's the reason why I said what I said, because
yeah.
unfortunately, what's happened and it's going to happen is you're going to have U.S. citizens who get mistaken for being undocumented being arrested. And what I
Hmm.
think they should do is that they should sue ICE.
Yeah,
Okay, and maybe a couple of lawsuits might make these people think twice.
absolutely. No, no, no. I'm thinking about it because me being in a red state already, that could happen to me. I could end up arresting me because the governor of Texas, he's a MAGA. We have a MAGA governor down here, so ICE could come around and I could end up being arrested. And I'm like, okay, I need to know the name of a civil rights attorney or something
Mhm.
because.
It's just like a few years ago here in Chicago, the woman that was at the park being harassed when the guy comes up to her, what are you doing with that Puerto Rico shirt on? Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you legally a
Yeah,
U.S. citizen?
yeah.
It was oh my god,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
he was that old man going in on that little lady. It was a little woman who had like a Puerto Rican shirt and whatever, whatever. I want them to come at me with that. I mean, I'm not gonna say much. I'm just gonna say, look, I'm free to go, and everything is straightened out. That I'm gonna be going right straight to a civil rights attorney, get a consultation, and see what I can do for stress for emotional distress.
Yep, emotional
All the lawsuit
distress.
on that.
It's
Yeah,
crazy because they think everybody that speaks Spanish. It goes to show you how educated a lot of people are. They think everybody that speaks Spanish is Mexican, and
yeah,
that's the only ethnic group that anybody really knows is Mexican. Now, I get it, like because you
but
got the
yeah,
in the southern United States on the West Coast is predominantly
yes,
Mexicans, but that's not the only Spanish speaking island or the Spanish speaking country, and most
yeah.
people are not educated enough to.
No,
A lot of
no.
people are dumb. They're dumb. They don't really know.
To eyes, we're all Mexicans. That's what I
Yeah.
keep saying. I keep saying it to some department, to some agency like ICE. We're all Mexican, so we're gonna be treated as such. And yeah, and the thing, Juju, is that over here, I keep my information handy. I always have my wallet, but the thing is that because I have a license, I also carry a means of self-protection. I think you know what I mean. I don't want to say the word here. So hopefully that doesn't bring me any trouble, because
Yeah.
that doesn't add anything. That doesn't complicate anything. So.
Yeah.
But I have my licenses. Now, the other part that I wanted to show, again, going down memory lane, what we were talking about, and then we can talk about something else, because they were bringing this. They were also bringing this. Hang on the post that I was seeing. I saw a couple of posts on Facebook that were kind of like conveniently bringing this up. Let me share the screen. They were also bringing this. So democracy in it. Democracy in it. I'm not hearing anything about opening up the borders for just anybody and everybody to just come in. I mean, let me play a little something. Let me play a little something from. This is us last year, as if we didn't know already. Hang with me a moment. Yeah, struggle streaming then, struggle streaming now.
I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. The same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed. Third, we'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for her kids. We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans. After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time. They work hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American-born or spent most of their lives here. And their hopes, dreams, and patriotism are just like ours. As my predecessor, President Bush, once put it, they are a part of American life.
Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. And in a moment, I have to get to a little clarification that I have to make. And it's going to go against something that a friend of ours was saying earlier. But you guys remember that. I mean, but look at the kind of like the rhetoric, different rhetoric. Still, the deportations happen. But what I was trying to get, the whole double standard. When what the title of this live specifically, like to the MAGAs, that they can't have it both ways. What I'm referring is that you can't be going on and on and on, talking about how the Democrats they let everybody in without consequence, but then they start bringing up the deportation numbers for Democratic presidents when it's convenient. No. Either the Democrats are big failures when it comes to immigration, or they deported so many people that they shouldn't be criticizing a Republican president for deporting people. It's gonna have to be one of the two. That is hypocritical. And I know that they were calling him that, and I already showed the numbers. You remember, Jose? You remember, Hakeem? I shared that with you guys. That both Bill Clinton and Obama, they deported millions.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a different approach to it. They were not going in front of the camera demonizing every minority that they could think of. He didn't resort to calling to the inflammatory rhetoric, which had consequences. Let's understand a lot of the whole invasion talk and the criminals and rapists and all of that rhetoric that led to death. That led to people getting offed. People ended up losing their lives. Like what I was mentioning before, too many people have short memories. They have already forgotten about the Walmart in El Paso. They've forgotten about the synagogue in Pennsylvania. They have forgotten about what happened in Charlottesville. Eh? Those are examples. That's what I can think of.
Absolutely, they forgot about
a lot of people.
Buffalo, New York.
got killed because of the
Yeah.
whole invasion thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excuse me, guys. You're probably going to disagree with what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The mere fact that you enter the country illegally, that's a criminal act. Now, it's not the same thing as committing murder or rape, but it's a criminal act nevertheless. Okay, I have been to 5 different countries. Okay, and what I had to do each time, the minute I got off the plane, I had to go to speak with someone in their immigration sources. First of all, I had to present my credentials, and then I had to answer certain questions, mainly what my purpose for visiting the country. It was only then, after presenting my credentials and answering legit questions that they had for me, did they allow me to enter the country. So, I mean, so the fact that people enter this country illegally, okay, by definition, it's a criminal act.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Jose.
Mhm.
No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And unfortunately, the way that America is people don't care what you've entered for, your reasons behind it, anything like that. People don't care how hard you work, especially once they got their minds made up that you are a liability. Um, all of that goes out of the window. All of that, I work hard, keep my head down. BS, I do this, I do that. I'm a good moral person. I'm not like those other. All of that goes out of the window. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is that I feel that you are taken away from this country. You are here illegally, which makes you a criminal, and you have to go. Period. That's the only
Okay,
thing that people are saying.
okay,
They don't
Rakeem.
they don't care.
Okay, Rakeem. Again, I have to state this point. And okay, some of these people have been here for years.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are resources available to help them to try to legalize their status. Okay, even though they enter the country illegally. Unfortunately, for reasons that are unknown to us, many of these people has not taken advantage of it. So the longer that you stay in this country illegally and you do not do anything to try to legalize your status, the more risk you put in yourself at getting yourself deported.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want let me highlight what Daniel did. I say what's up to Daniel? I know that you have been in the chat for a while. What's going on? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, not crossing at any international entry point is illegal even for you and a U.S. citizen. Look, if ICE is gonna be so hard, going on so hard, rounding up people to have them deported, then maybe they should round up the expats in Mexico and keep them out, because there are expats that are living over there and they're they're not they're not really contributing anything. Maybe they're driving up the cost of living. They're not paying taxes to the local government. They have a sense of entitlement. Maybe they need to get the expats out. Expats being North Americans that are living large in Mexico, and and they don't necessarily have a permit to be there. They may not have like they may not be authorized. Maybe they got in there and they just live there because they feel like they're entitled to. Yeah.
And you know something, Ramon? If this country were to stop doing it, they have
Yeah.
the right to do so. I mean, because look, if you're not going to enter a country legally,
Hmm.
then sooner or later you have to face the possibility of deportation. Now, again, you know, I can understand to an certain extent. I can have sympathy to a certain extent, but again, you lose it when you've been in this country illegally for years and you don't take advantage of the resources there, and you don't even make an effort to try to legalize your status.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Hmm. Yeah. Um. Okay. I just lost my train of thought a little bit.
And
Oh, I was about to say that I lost my train of thought. But
Yeah.
keep going, guys.
But
It doesn't matter to me.
yeah, but some of the things I'm going to be talking about it on my stream as well, regarding this, and and again, while I disagree with the rhetoric that Trump is doing, like it or not, like it or not, I mean, if you are here illegally, you risk getting deported.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 Something that I want to clear up really quick. I just looked it up and I mentioned DACA. What I was talking about DACA did not start with Ronald Reagan. I just looked it up.
Okay.
That was a bill that was being considered back in 2007. It was during the Obama administration when it became legislation. It did not start with Ronald Reagan. Hmm.
But you know what would be interesting to see? You'll be interested to see a debate with you and Denise regarding this topic.
Yeah. Okay.
And what we can do is we can have it on my platform,
Hmm.
okay? And then each person will have an opportunity to present their point of view.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing I request is, first of all, don't get personal, don't get or insults. stick, present your evidence, okay, not just opinions.
Hmm. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, but like with this whole situation, like I'm a little torn. You know, I'm a little torn with the situation because I definitely don't want to see people that are, torn apart from their families and everything else. But at the same time, it's crazy because a lot of people who voted for Trump. So obviously, this is what majority of America wanted.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, I mean, what's my hope, Rakim, and I could be hoping against hope, that when it comes to the 26th election, midterm election, and the 28th presidential election, that maybe it was still people that actually use the few brain cells that some people have and actually do some research regarding the candidates before they vote. I mean, I know that's being incredibly naive and that's being incredibly hopeful. Hopefully, it would not be another repeat of 2024.
Hmm.
Yeah, to what TT Juju just said, I think over 60%, if I'm not mistaken. It had to be over
Well,
60%.
the last time I looked, uh, it was like men. It was like 55% of Hispanic men voted for Trump, but it was 60% of the women that actually voted for Kamala. Uh, but still overall, it still amounted to something, to a
Like
little bit
half
over
half.
50%. I don't. It wasn't overwhelmingly, because there were people online going on and on about, Latinos overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Disagree. I don't think it was overwhelmingly. It was like a couple, just very few percentage points.
Actually, I addressed this topic on my other channel, Latino Diaspora, regarding why Latinos supported Trump.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
did this.
and many of them are already regretting it. I can show you a clip of it right now.
I mean,
Because,
look, there are numerous clips, particularly like in TikTok, there was like a huge number, just days after the election when people was
Mhm.
expressing rise remorse.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna keep it all the way real, man. I'm gonna keep it all the way real, and this is something that people not, and I don't want to, take it there, but I gotta touch on this for a minute, and it's because people feel like people really believe in this whole American thing, like as far as if I just like, especially being in proximity to whiteness, people really believe that. A lot of people really thought that they would not be on the chopping block, and all it does is all it is this one thing. Like America can create this narrative that you are the problem, and once people have it in their minds that you're the problem, then that's just it. That's what it is. It's nothing that's
Mhm.
gonna be able to deter that mindset, anything like that. It's been done with Black Americans for forever, forever. It's been like that forever. And if you notice the same thing, just like what the woman said, calling illegal subhuman, right? What did they call Indians or Native Americans? Native Americans were savages. What was Africans in this country? Three-fourths of a human being. When
Mhm.
people want a justification, when people want to justify, um, justify doing something to a group or doing evil to a group, they justify it in their minds to make it okay with them doing that.
Mm.
And a lot of people thought it was all fun and games, with Black Americans, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and we did this, we did that. Now now the shoe is on the other foot, and you're seeing that we wasn't lying. Like, we know America, we know the people in it like the back of our hands. We've been here since the inception.
You're a little muffled. I don't know if there is something on top of your mic.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Hopefully I'm okay now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you. Go
Okay.
ahead, please.
We know them like the back of our hands. And we're not saying like all, it's certain people that are very good people, but as a collective, as a group, we know how America runs and we know how the people are in this country. And now that they're fighting for their genetic survival, you're seeing the same mentality that has always existed from back then coming back out. Now they're trying to find different ways to not look as brutal as they were. But as you can see, what they're trying to do now, they taking stuff out of history. They're not trying to teach proper history in schools or anything like that because they don't want to be viewed as what they have done historically as a group. And because Ramon, you mentioned Vivek Ramaswamy earlier. When he got his wake up call, when when Ann Coulter told him to his face, "I would never vote for you. You're an Indian."
Yeah,
that
that was brutal. I remember that was brutal. He was told to his face,
He was
and,
trying to
and
keep
he
a
didn't
straight
get it.
face. You could
He-
tell.
yeah.
He was-
Didn't get the hint. He didn't get the hint. Now you don't hear anything about him. He's already been kicked to the curb.
now
Yeah.
him and
Already
what's the
Mhm.
other guy, Patrick Beck? Now they want to bring up racism and white supremacy, but you didn't bring that. That wasn't no. If Black Americans don't get a chance to use that, then you can't use it either.
Yeah,
Because it was all funny. It was all fun and
David.
games when
Yeah, he was being super American and super conservative thing, and referring to when it was the comment when he started talking about our founding fathers, meaning the founding fathers of the country, even though he's Iranian. He's Iranian originally in his country of origin, and people started to they reminded him real quick. No, this of this United States, they are not your founding fathers, and they showed out a picture of the Ayatollah, and they told him that's your founding father. They were very quick. They were very quick to show that to him. Oof.
yeah, and you got the Asians now who sat there and they worked with Edward Bloom to dismantle affirmative action, which most Black people don't even benefit from affirmative action. Well, but it was created for Black people, and Asians benefited more. They turned around, and with them wanting to be in proximity to white folks, sat there and believed them about, you don't need affirmative. It's about working hard, and if you work hard, you can obtain it. You can obtain the American dream. They sat there and believed them, and they wanted to damage Black people and say, we don't need affirmative action. You got with Edward Blum and turned around and dismantled affirmative action. But one thing you didn't talk about and one thing you didn't do was get rid of legacy out of these colleges, which is how a majority of these white students are getting in because their grandfathers and their fathers went there, and none of them are even nowhere near exceptional as Black people that work to get into these colleges or other people that work to get into these colleges. You didn't dismantle that, but you turned around and dismantled affirmative action, and then it bit you in the ass because now Asian enrollment is going down significantly in all of these different colleges.
I already talked about it. I have a video on that because in which Asians were admitting that taking away affirmative actions, it was going to affect them negatively. Because a lot of people were assuming that, okay, Asians are so smart, they don't need affirmative action to get into a good college. And lo and behold, what happened? Affirmative action is not the law of the land anymore. And now Asians are having more difficulty getting into a school. Yeah.
And now they're crying, and some of them are crying about it. Some of them are crying about it.
Harvard, MIT, and the like. Now they were having difficulty for it to get into them. Okay, well, one of the people that were trying to take that down was Asian. Not it was like a white guy and an Asian that was trying to take away affirmative action. So they got it. They got what they wanted, and look at what happened then. What's going on, MK?
Hey, MK.
My
Long
boy,
time no hear.
my boy
Hey guys,
MK.
how's it going?
I want to give a shout out to Fulani in the chat too, and Irby. Shout out to y'all. But like that's the thing, man. Like all of this stuff, when people wanted to tag team against us as a group, and we was getting it from every direction 5 years ago. Every direction. We was getting it from every direction of people. And now the pendulum then switched. And now people like the same thing that they said. I want to see a lot of these other people do. I want to see them pull themselves up by their bootstraps, make it work no matter where you at, and all of that. Because which you're very privy and everything to a lot of information, Ramon, and which you've always voiced your opinion on the people that used to talk about the three roots and all of this, and that none of that matters, man. In America,
Mhm.
none of that matters. It don't matter how much European ancestry you have. You're not WASP.
No,
None of that
I'm
matters.
not all that way. I'm not the acceptable. I know.
Oh yeah,
Early
yeah.
in
No, I know you know.
history,
Yeah, I know you
I
know,
was
Ramon, because
told,
all of these
early
people
in
that's
history, I was already told that I'm a white man all of a sudden.
no, no, man, no, definitely
I'm
not.
not. I'm not brown enough, or something. Yeah, sure, sure. I mean,
And
my beloved mom, who's resting right now, she will have been. She could have been considered
I
a
don't
white
think
woman,
that was
and she
meant like
even had.
that,
Hang
Ramon.
on, hang on,
I
hang
don't
on.
think so.
She even had natural blonde hair. She was always dyeing it to darker tones for whatever reason. I never had the chance to ask her why, but she knew and she told me that when she lived in New York, she lived in New York City when she was a kid, and she knew that even though she may have passed for white, that she was still Hispanic. She knew that she wasn't the same. Go on, MK.
Yeah, I think sometimes this conversation, to be honest, the conversation is not that complicated. I think it's people's feelings in it that's making it complicated. To
Hmm.
be honest, I live with Denise, so I know what she thinks. We don't agree on everything, but for the most part, we agree. And from what I'm hearing, from what I hear from you guys, y'all are saying the same thing. It's no different. The only difference is one doesn't have too much emotions invested in it and the other one does. And it's because like she said, she's like, uh, for one, you're Puerto Ricans, and two, you guys don't have the same experience. But ultimately you shouldn't, I feel like I agree with you. You should feel for the people. I feel for them. They still should get deported though.
Hmm.
So ultimately, like I don't really see where you guys are differing. The only time I see it, sorry, I'm dealing with my son, it's
Uh-huh.
because the feelings involved. She's more
Mhm.
like, I don't really, get your stuff done. I don't really care how you do it. Deport them because they wasn't here legally. And but ultimately it's the same thing. So I don't know where you guys are like having this disconnect
Um,
from.
MK. In all fairness, when it comes to the massive deportation, I just started thinking about it recently. So obviously, my views is going to be evolving. But I mean, in many areas, I do agree with Denise. And the fact of the matter is, and people don't like to hear it, but simply the fact when you enter the country illegally, that's a criminal act. And in all fairness, many of these people had years to try to legalize their status, and they have not done so.
And not to interrupt you, Jose, I just wanted to chime in. I know you have a difference of opinion based off the fact that you are a worker for the city, and you've had to deal with certain things that we may not know about or might not be privy to. So I can
Mhm.
understand that's where your opinion comes from.
Oh no,
Yeah,
definitely. I could never say anything or trying to invalidate what Jose has had to deal with.
yeah. I just think like it's not. To be honest, it's not really that complicated. They gotta go. I mean, I don't agree
Mhm.
with the rhetoric behind it, the racist rhetoric. But like for people to be like, oh no, they should stay. Oh my God, they should just stay because they've already built a life here. You broke the law, and to be honest, it's stupid to think that because you don't commit violent crimes and you're an immigrant that you're not going a legal immigrant that you're not gonna go. That was the dumbest thought that they had. You gotta go. I don't agree with treating them bad either. Treat them with respect. Send them home with respect. But let's not sit over here advocating for people to come over, because if it was anybody else's country, they had to go ahead to kick us out, they would gladly do it. But they can't
That's a
do it
whole
because we
fact.
can. Yeah, and
They've
then
been,
too, the
they've been wanting
people
to kick
too.
us out forever.
Yeah, and then too, like
Go
what
back
pissed
to
me off
Africa.
is some of the people that were like, I agree with. I saw the comment, the Eddie Gordo Brazilian dude made. That is trauma bond.
Hmm.
You got a whole bunch of people. Everybody say Black Americans do it with everybody else Black because we want to feel some type of connection. I agree with that. So when I call out that this is trauma bonding, it is. It's something that you guys are just connecting with because you look the same, you have the
Hmm.
same experience. So when that's put on us, it's okay. When somebody else says it, now it's like, no, it's different. No, like Rakim said, all of this stuff is the same thing. You're gonna have to hold the same standard and the same reasoning, whatever you got that you have for us all them years in the past. People want to act funny now. Oh, it's different. It's different. No, send them back. They don't belong here. They didn't apply. They didn't do anything legally to get here. So I don't know. Treat them like human beings. I feel for them that way because they are people. But let's stop feeling for them like, oh, their lives are going to be uprooted. If you really cared about your life, you would have applied while you was here. Like Jose said, you cannot be here that long and not apply. Because you just uprooted your kid's life, your wife's life, anybody else, any other family member that's connected to you. So I think, like I said, ultimately y'all got the same reasoning. It's just like you guys you guys you gotta back up and look at it from a certain position because you know how Denise is. She don't attach feelings to. So
Denise is very stoic.
you
Very
gotta learn
stoic.
how to like look at it from that point of view because she's not wrong. You gotta send them back. You were saying the same thing. It's just because you feel for them. You think that she's not feeling for him either. She's just telling you business is business. I feel for him as humans, but business is business. That's how the United States rock.
And what's crazy? It's crazy how humans are very similar to animals in certain things, like to what Fulana was saying. A lot of these people applied and they called them in for a check-in and they took them away. That's a tactic. And also, what do animals do? We've all seen the Animal Channel, right? What would certain predators do for people? They was what would certain predators do against animals? They'll take the babies, right? They'll take the babies, hunt the babies, and wait for the babies to hear, wait for the mothers and all of them to hear the babies whimpering, and then because they trying to lure the mother in so they can get the mother for a bigger kill. That's exactly what the ICE people were doing, going into schools, holding the children there, waiting for the parents to get there, and then turn around and deport the parents, or deport both.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This has been said on multiple streams in the past few years. I don't know why the part that pisses me off is people surprised about it, then want you to be human about it on their end. And don't get me wrong, I am a human. I feel for them. But it's crazy how be human for it for me, but oh no, be human for thee, not for me. Basically, that's how the rules work with us. Because they like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
when you guys do that, you're just complaining. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. But most of these people were getting stuff coming in here. They were staying in
yeah,
fancy
that's true.
hotels. Look at Chicago. Hell, look at my state.
New York
So
and a lot of
yeah.
things, a lot of different, benefits and stuff like that. And for the people that need it, I'm not knocking that. But for the most part, a lot of people was getting benefits and different things, and to help them as far as being here in the states and everything. But
Hmm. Yeah, that's why
Well,
I'm saying if you're an American Latino, like you gotta understand the rules. They know the rules. Your family members know the rules. You know the rules. You know better than that. So don't try to be like, oh, well, the rules should be different. No, that's just how it is. They don't deport Europeans. You know how this country is. People have been telling you how this country is. You just too ignorant to listen.
But we have already talked about that. I mean, the ICE has caught Europeans that have overstayed visa, and they have straight up told them, "We're not looking for you. You can go."
yeah,
I'm aware of that.
their main focus is on the brown people.
Hmm.
Their main focus is on the brown people. You don't even when people say, oh well, this is a country of immigrants. Yeah, it was a country of European immigrants before 1965. It
Hmm.
was a country of European immigrants. The only reason that the Boricuas was even able to come to the United States was because of the fact that Puerto Rico became a United States territory, and due to the fact that most Puerto Ricans are not the ideal face of what America should be, they went through a lot of hell in places in New York, Chicago, a lot of other places where tensions was high, racial tension was high. But when it came to uh, the Italians, the Irish, all of these other people, they wanted more and more European immigrants. They didn't want to import more brown people, and they damn sure ain't want to import more black people. We can't get rid of the black people we already got.
Hmm.
and don't get me wrong. Like I said before, I have actually dealt with these migrants for over a year. Okay, and I had the opportunity to speak with some of these people, and I hear what was the reason for them coming to the United States. I just wish that they put that same energy to try to see if they can, fix the situation in the, in their respective countries. Because look, I'm sorry, but we cannot save the whole world.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Well, some of this is messed up because the reason why people are coming over here too is because the United States foreign policy and screwing up governments and all of
Mhm.
that in Latin America. So that's something that we cannot forget.
No,
Like
true.
like like it's but it just comes down to America was built off of slave labor that turned into cheap labor, and it never stopped. And it never stopped. And I don't fault the migrants for coming over here and trying to get what they can, because it's really America and a lot of these corporations that should be the target of the American people. But we all know since people can't punch up, most people punch down, because people, even if you don't give them what they want, if you can pacify them by giving them somebody to blame, they'll be satisfied with that.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what um we're looking at. That's exactly what we're looking at right now. You know, and they're not. I think it's a possibility this might die down within a year or two, to be honest, because they know they can't deport most of the people that are here, and then the Republicans still want these people here to for the labor, for the labor. They putting on the front now, but behind the scenes, they still want people here for the labor. They're not trying to reset America, and that's not the idea of the white elite. They've created a problem, and now they're trying to make it like they're having the solutions for the problem to satisfy the American people for the problem that they created. So
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like the whole TikTok thing. I mean, the same people that were trying to ban it, now they're talking about that they were the ones that save it, so that people give them a cookie or something.
right
Yeah.
now, but you made some valid points, MK. Definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying because I'm like, this is getting a little. First of all, I see the hypocrisy on when it comes to streams and stuff like that. And I have to, I've been quiet for a long time. I haven't really hopped on streams or been on streams since, in a long time. So when I'm hearing people, it just like it's funny when you step back and observe things that how it's like so much hypocrisy in what they say now that the wheel has been on their turn. So that's what started irking me. But ultimately, I'm gonna head out because my phone is low. But
Mhm.
Ramon, you and Denise have more in common than what you think. You just gotta see it from her point of view because I think she sees it from yours. I'm when it comes to this, I'm neutral because I don't have any illegal people in my family, and then Denise is Latino, so
Yeah.
I and then too, you guys are having a conversation within yourself, so I'm neutral with that. But you're basically saying the same thing. She
Yeah.
just don't have the patience for all that, the
Mm.
emotions to it. She feels for him, but there's no patience for that when it comes to time to handle business. And now it's time to handle business. You know what I mean?
Well, as always, MK, it's really a pleasure to hear from you. It's been a long time, and also hearing from my cyber grandchild. So I would appreciate it if you would give my love to your better half.
Will do. All right, guys. Bye.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks for coming up, MK. Talk to you
No
next time.
problem. Bye.
All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No. And well, I was thinking about
But
showing
but
another.
there's one thing. But there's one thing I have to highlight.
Mhm.
Joaquin, I envy you with that chilly weather that you're having in Chicago.
Yeah, you know what, Jose? You
You
need
should
to move
swap.
here.
Yeah,
You
you
should
should
swap.
you should
I,
swap the weather, the locations, so you can enjoy that weather, and you can you can take a dip into the bay when it's cold. Joaquin, you have that kind of like that bay in front of the city,
hmm
and where the wind comes in, that is it is extremely cold, and you should take a dip in that bay when it's really cold over there, Jose. Since you like it
Glaciers
so
of
much.
ice. Yeah, glaciers of ice. Jose, you know what? You ain't even got to give me your Yankees cap, Jose. I'll just give you my White Sox cap. I'll go to the islands. I'll go to the Caribbean, and you can have at it right here in the Midwest. With all
Well,
this.
I get it that you're getting some chilly weather over there in Chicago.
Oh, it's more. It's more than you will love it. You will love it. You will love it. It's the closest thing to Alaska.
Well, this is Groundhog Day. Supposedly, the groundhog saw his shadows. That means we're gonna have 6 more weeks of winter. I'm just saying, I wish winter has actually arrived as of yet.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, definitely. I remember I was dropping fuel at a station and the wind was so cold, man, I had to turn in the direction that it wasn't blowing. So I can so I can so I can stay out there because you can't really hop back in the truck when you're dropping fuel. So I had to
Mhm.
stay out there. And the crazy thing is, because it's not really fuel, it's called DEF diesel exhaust fluid. And the crazy thing is, it's made up of mostly water. And if it's too crazy, it'll freeze. It'll
Well,
freeze. Like after, like with my brake chambers and stuff like that. Once I got that truck to the shop, I had to stay at the shop for another 4 or 5 hours because they had to let the truck thaw out because it was that bad. So
well, there's a song that I sing. It goes like this: It's getting to be a little like winter,
Mm.
and I love the cold.
Mm.
I really love the cold. It's good as
Well,
gold.
it's actually warming
We
up. It's
love
warming
the
up down
cold.
here. It's warming up down here, and I'm very grateful for it.
Oh,
Yesterday,
Ramon, you
was
don't
like,
know what you're missing. The beauty
no,
of cold
no,
weather.
I want to miss it. I wanna miss it. What you love so much, I wanna miss it because I don't need it. I don't need it. It's gonna make me sick. I'm too
How come?
sensitive. That's what I'm sensitive to. The cold. When it
How
gets
come I don't
cold,
get
I'm
I don't get
really.
sick in the winter time?
Hmm. What's that? What's that?
How come I don't get sick in the winter time?
Well, you. I guess you have devolved into having the tolerance of a polar bear, but that's not what I was born and raised in. So it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I need my warmth. I need to be able
You
to
know,
feel the sun when it's out.
you know what would be my fantasy?
Uh-huh.
That I have complete climate control worldwide.
I should have asked. Yeah, you have told us about that. Rakim, I think that you shared a link to like another TikTok or something. You wanted me to play it?
Yeah, that was the whole Vivek Ramaswamy thing, and I that woman, she's a white Jamaican woman, and she was talking about people like Vivek Ramaswamy and
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Patrick Bet-David going in on Black Americans.
yeah, but I have seen those. I have seen that interview with Vivek. I mean, he was made to look stupid, and he's already out of the picture. And we're not seeing him anymore. He's already served his purpose, and he's already been kicked to the curb. So so he got his wake up call. Hopefully, we don't
Hmm.
see him. Yeah, yeah. He got too comfortable. He got too comfortable and started talking about why the H1B visas, how they were needed because people here couldn't do the tech jobs, and they needed immigration from like India or other parts where they have people educated in the tech jobs could come in and do the work because people in this country are too distracted. Basically, in many words, saying that people here are dumb to do the tech jobs, and that basically got him ousted. Like he got comfortable. He got comfortable.
Hmm.
He got comfortable and got kicked out. Well, bye.
Yeah, like, and it's some truth to that, and just like what Fulana was saying, and the reason why, because America purposely make its citizens dumb. We us as a country, we make our citizens dumb. Like, we make our citizens dumb because America wants to control its population, and they want to be able to make the population sway in whatever direction that they want them to sway in, which we're seeing now.
Hmm.
Most people don't want to. Most people don't even. Man, don't even get me started, man. I like
Hmm.
some people online you can't even have a conversation with. I
Hmm.
got into an argument. I got into an argument with a dude, another black American dude, who told me you're not an African. I was like, genetically, racially, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to say culturally, no, I'm culturally, I'm American. He's like, you ain't got no ties to Africa. I'm like, man, this mother,
No, no,
man,
don't
right
bother,
here.
don't bother, don't bother, don't bother.
No, no,
It's only
no.
gonna, it's only gonna raise your blood pressure. I mean, because
Yeah.
Hmm.
there are among us, us Puerto Rican. There are certain. I don't mean you, Jose, but there are certain diasporas that are actually trying to divide us Puerto Ricans on race, because maybe there are some of us Puerto Ricans that may not have Taino, some of that Taino bloodline. Maybe there are some of us that don't have it, and there are certain diaspora Puerto Ricans that are trying to divide us from from them. Like, you can't be a real Boricua if you don't have Taino bloodline. If you don't have Taino bloodline, then you are just a gringo. Or you're just a European. You can't be Puerto Rican because of that. That's a new one. That's a new thing, because the whole thing about being Puerto Rican, we don't necessarily tie it to bloodline. We don't
It's
tie
tied
it.
to the culture of the island.
It has more to do with the culture, because we are already too mixed racially. So it is a waste of time to try to divide us on trying to divide us on race. That's not gonna do it. That's not gonna work. In Puerto Rico, people are just not gonna know what you're talking about. Trying to divide people on based on race, people on the island, you just don't. It's a non-starter. It's an
Everybody,
argument that's not gonna work. Mhm.
everybody got a microphone online. That's
how it
the
is
thing.
now.
Like I done found myself, and I had to think about what you were saying, Ramon. I done found myself arguing with pretendians,
Mhm.
telling me that we didn't come from Africa. We was always here. You are a mother effing lie, man.
A simple
You're
DNA
you're like the DNA test.
A simple
That's
DNA
not
test
real.
will say
That's not.
otherwise. They're gonna be in denial. Let them.
And here's the trick I get away with, right? Here's the trick I get away with. Okay, so if we was already here and we're natives, then that means the Tainos that was in the Caribbean was black too, right? The, yeah, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just sitting here listening to Dan Calloway, and then you want to identify with that. You don't know the culture, you don't know the tribe, you don't know the language, you don't know where was the tribe's territory before they was moved during the Trail of Tears. You don't know anything about this, but yet you sitting here claiming you native, looking like a whole African with melanated skin, big lips,
Yeah,
big
the people
noses,
can guess.
4C hair, and
Uh-huh.
man, don't even get me started, man.
The people can
Um,
almost guess the tribe or the part of Africa that they might be from. Their ancestry might be
yeah,
from. Which, yeah.
but guys, in all fairness, you have some members of our community that will swear up and down that they're from Spain and that Spain was this
Let them
glorious
think that.
time. Okay. And we all know what happened to the Spanish Empire. And there was one individual, which I'm not going to say, but we all know, even though he did not look European, but he swore up and down he was, and he had a mission to make the DR white again.
You know what's crazy? When y'all said say that, right? Because it was Ramona had to educate me because I always used to wonder. I'm like, damn man, Spain had all this territory. What happened to all of the money? Because I was like, they had. So
They
I was like, how much? How did they even go broke? Because it looked like Spain even had more territory than England in like here because you got to throw Florida in there, you got to throw Texas in there, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, and then the rest of Mexico and Central America and different things like that. But yeah, like because I remember I saw MXC comment on Denise stream when he, I was like, I know Spain wish they can get a refund right now because I know they need that paper. They hurting over there, over there in España right now. They hurting for certain. So, but yeah, like I done got into it with people where like this one black dude gonna tell me what part of Africa we come from. Then I was like, well, first off, it wasn't no established territories at that time, but everybody from the Caribbean all the way to the Latin America and the United States descend from West Africa. That's where our ancestry comes from, not East Africa, West Africa, because they have two distinctive looks you can see. And he was like, what tribes then? Well, I was like, man, I don't know what tribes. It was different tribes that was taken. It was people like they couldn't even communicate with each other. We make up a combination of different people. All that tribal stuff didn't matter once you got on that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rakim, let's keep it 100. Okay, we're talking about millions of souls that were kidnapped and brought to this country against their will.
Yeah.
They were deprived of their identity. They were deprived of their way of life. They were deprived of their culture. They were deprived of their own respective individual names. Okay, so what they had to do, they had to have a way of life forced upon them for 250 years.
Mhm.
And then you had a brief period called Reconstruction, where they tried to make some changes, and then that only lasted 12 years, and then you have segregation. So it's very hard to ask someone who was a descendant of someone that was brought in against their will to ask, what tribe are you from when you were deprived of everything that made you special?
Yeah, Jose, people are crazy, man. You can't like. That's what Fulana was just saying in the comments. Majority, I hate to say it, man. I mean, I'm American, of course, but a lot of Americans are stupid. We really don't. Our education system here is very, very messed up. It's very messed up, and it's done like that on purpose. And
Mhm.
then it's nothing worse than a dumb, arrogant person.
Yeah.
A person that's
Well,
dumb and arrogant. Like it's
Oh yeah,
yeah.
because arrogant, and very confident in what they're saying. Even if they're confident in their ignorance. You can't reason with somebody like that. You're
absolutely.
not. You can't. You
Okay.
really can't.
Okay. Well, if you want me to clean the snow, you would have to pay me. First of all, okay. Number one. Number two. I have a name for such individual. I I call the collective the circus because they act like a bunch of clowns.
Hmm. Hmm. Ah, man. And you were talking about when it comes to the whole ancestry thing, and in the Caribbean, in the Caribbean, because it went down just a tiny little bit different. Yes, there was slavery and all of and all of that. Yes, there was in the Caribbean, and it could have been. Well, it was in the IT part where it was really brutal. But at least in other parts of the Caribbean, it wasn't that incredibly difficult to for the slaves to maintain, to be
Their
able to
cult,
keep
yeah,
some of
their
some
customs
of
still.
some of their culture. That's why today we have a pretty good idea of where some of the slaves that went to the Caribbean came from, because of the whole. Particularly, many of them were Yoruba. A lot of them
Yeah,
were Yorubas, because a lot of the Yoruba culture survives to this day in the
especially in Cuba too. Especially in Cuba.
the
Um,
yes,
yeah, I was just gonna say, and then even
West
in the
Africa.
food, plantains and all of that was brought to from Africa into the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
I
the whole thing
believe,
with the conga, that traces back to the djembe. I mean, the djembe was brought to the Caribbean, and from that is where the congas come from, the barrel drum, the tambora, all of that traces back to the djembe, which is that two-sided drum that comes from West Africa. So it wasn't completely, at least in the Caribbean, it wasn't completely erased. It wasn't completely eliminated. And after that, there were some efforts which is the irony, because we get accused of being so racist and being so anti-black, but the the, the traces of African heritage and culture did survive to a great degree in the Caribbean and in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, kind of like the whole bomb by plane. I think that's something that goes back 200 years at least.
yeah,
So it
because
wasn't, it wasn't completely eliminated. Yeah.
yeah, it was different because it was difference in the colonization style. The Spaniards believe in maintaining some of the African customs for the people to, um, you know, in slavery, and the British just believe in stripping everything from the slave. Because always, well, I'm like, why we ain't got plantains here? Why we ain't got none of that stuff here?
You
No,
should
they
have.
believe,
You
when
should
they,
have at least have that. I mean, the
yeah,
whole thing, eating plantains.
yeah, but they stripped everything from the slave, as far as they didn't believe in them keeping any of their customs. If they tried to practice them, they was beat horrifically. Different things like that. But yeah, it's a whole like. But you can't really like people online, man. And it's crazy because online is where ignorance reigns supreme. But
Yep.
like Fulana said, I like to have fun. So when I do another stream, Fulana, hopefully you will be there. I know you're gonna be there, Ramon. Um,
Sure.
I want
When am
to
I
do.
gonna be? Let me know. Let me know
Oh
when it's
man, I gotta work on it. But I wanted to do. I wanted to do another music stream, and I might
Mm,
do because my boy Aleem, he was telling me about the show. I
mhm.
guess like it's a show, one of the reality shows where it was Escape and SWV on there, and I was like, I could do Escape versus SWV R&B show, see who was the
Uh,
better group.
a person type of
Yeah,
thing. They
like
should do
who
that
was
in
the
real
better
life.
group?
They should do that in real life. Well, I lean more towards SWB. I kind of like them more. But maybe they should do they should do that in real life. So
Mhm.
yeah, actually, well, I mean, I don't want this to go too long, so I'm gonna be wrapping up soon. So I wanted to segue into the final remarks. You were just saying about that you were planning to do a stream soon. Make sure to let us know, and you want to elaborate a little bit on that, so then I can get some final remarks from Jose. So what you were saying?
Oh, okay. Final remarks. Okay, I want to say shout out to my boy Ramon. Thank you
Hmm.
for having me. I want to give a shout out to everybody. Want to give a shout out to Fulana, Irby, MK, everybody that came through. My YouTube dad, Jose. But yeah, because like I realized too, like I want to like once I start streaming again, I'm gonna do streams that because like a lot of these topics they can become draining, and I like to do streams on everyday things for us all that we can relate to and kick back and a lot of that BS. I'm not gonna have it at my stream.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put that in check ASAP because it's a lot of online BS that I can't really rock with. But yeah,
Hmm.
like in the future, I'm gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna still have like my serious streams here and there, but for the most part, I want it where everybody can come and enjoy, and we kick back and chill out and talk about different things that we can all relate to, and
Well,
that'll be
make
it
sure
in the
that you
future.
can do that. Make sure that you can do that safely. That your stream doesn't get taken down. Because I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I had a live stream that all I did was play just a few seconds of a Missy Elliott video, and the whole thing got blocked.
yeah. I don't play the videos. I'll usually just play the music, and I'll hide like I'll like play the video. I'll play the music on YouTube, but I'll hide it behind a different page. That way,
Mhm.
it's not you're not playing the videos because when you play the
Yeah,
videos, that's owned by the record companies, and they can strike that down ASAP. But
yeah.
yeah,
All right,
Okay.
all right. Uh, hey, 18 letter guys. Anybody who's listening, check out his channel, the 18 letter. I mean,
Yes.
hopefully he does some new streams soon, so check him out. Like and
I
subscribe.
gotta I definitely gotta do I gotta get into like all of this different AI stuff that I see a lot of people using, man, because I got some ideas and I really want to make it like lively with clips and different things like that.
Mhm.
All right. So there is something I have to take care of. So I'm not gonna be
Well,
having a backstage. So
okay. Let me
Okay.
um,
just okay. Let me just say my final remarks. First of all, thank you very much, Ramon, for allowing me on the platform. It's good to interact with all of you. And speaking
mhm,
about streams, I'm going to be doing one tonight at 9 o'clock Central Time. And the topic is going to be agreeable when we disagree.
mhm,
So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be airing portions of a stream that I did with our friend Denise regarding, the debate we have whether or not the pandemic is over. The show, and that's the show that two people can mutually have disagreements, but able to conduct themselves in a mature way. Something that a lot of people don't have. So,
mhm.
and of course, guys, please show some love to the intro request. Subscribe to this channel. Please show same amount of love for the 18th leather And please consider subscribing to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron.
All right, sure thing, sure thing. I'll repeat it. Also, check out Jose Negron's channel, which is Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. He's more consistent with the streams than I am. I envy that about him. I need to get more like him if I can manage the time. It's not that simple, but definitely check him out. Like and subscribe on his channel. And hey, shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody that commented on the channel. And actually, I just changed my mind. I'm gonna do a backstage, but only for a few minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit more with you guys. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna end it now. Shout out to the chat. Thank you for coming up. I'm gonna be. Hopefully, I can do another stream soon. And until next time, this was Introvert Boricua, and I'm gonna be seeing you next time. Peace, everybody.
Peace.